Today is September 24th, 2025. Providing an update on migrating the Access database to a web application. So, how do you get from an Access database to a web application? As you can see, I've had a couple of circles happen, and we're going to discuss those, what we've learned, and where we're at. So, first off, tried Replit, and right off the bat, I put in some minimal requirements, and it looked amazing, but as I started adding more features, a lot of bugs, a lot of cost in going back and forth. So I noticed I have a quality and cost situation. So how do you treat it as those? Well, I'm thinking requirements and maybe even a different AI tool. So then I used ChatGPT and a data science friend and did some crowdsourcing, and what I came out of that with is ChatGPT helped me write some scripts to export the contents of the database in a structured format in a very deterministic way. I came out with documentary relationships, tables, forms, macros, screenshots to give a visual UX user flow, and I came up with a structured folder with some relationships, table schema, UI controls, and then the tables themselves. So now, this is big. ChatGPT helps me get very deterministic requirements. Well, a base for requirements. And my data science developer friend suggested I start developing locally instead of using Replit, to address the cost issue. So did some research, took some trainings, and I ended up with after I had the documents, I created some requirements with AI, and then to get the context and consistency with building with AI, I took three things. I took the GitHub spec kit. So the idea is from the GitHub spec kit. I use Claude AI, the interface, as a consultant. And then I use Claude Code locally to code in Visual Studio. So here's kind of the setup for there. What I'll do is use Claude as the consultant to be like, okay, I want to do this thing, and I want it, what kind of outcome I want, high quality. I describe the problems that I've had in the past. AI will design a page with its own design, and it will follow design tokens, stuff like that. So what I want is it to code consistently and remember the requirements. So using this method, now I have structured requirements, I have structure on how to document them, I have a consultant to refer back to the structure, and then I have a coder who looks at the structure, and if I run into any problems, I can go back to the consultant and say, hey, this is what we did and this is where we're at. And what that may look like here. So, give you an example. So, I had to build a constitution, architecture, principles, UX. I had the consultant do this. And documents. So here's all the documents that it trained itself on. And if the consultant had things for me to tell the coder, I would put it in here and refer the coder to that. And then after the consultant told me what to do and the coder did it, like the coder analyzed all of the exports from Access, then it took those Access documents and created business logic, database analysis, patterns, forms, patterns, and then the specifics about the contracts. Implementation roadmap, a modernization of opportunities that can be done after our one-to-one feature list is done, so that we don't break anything. Finds gaps, task management, the architecture, validation summary. So it's kind of a back and forth. In order to make real progress, I had to have deterministic requirements, and I had to have structure, and then I had to have consultants, and then I had to have the coder look at the structure that the consultant gave, and that look at what it is to context and consistency. So what does that mean? Let's take a look. What do we have? So I've been having several coders work at the same time to see what does and doesn't work. So I've actually had 3 projects going at the same time. So let me sign into project 2. This was definitely Claude code, but with less structure. So you can see over here, got a dashboard, got projects. I can edit projects, I can add a project. Project auto numbers and is editable. Name, I can pull in clients, I can pull in agencies, and I can create a project. And then once the project is created, I can go into contracts. This is the problem that I was trying to solve. Do you see how it did not follow my UX design patterns or tokens to do the create command. So that's why I was like, we got an opportunity for improvement here. So this is actually pretty good what it's done here. But I started this 3001. Let's see here. Sign in. So this one is after using this technique here. So in my first attempt, I was using the consultant and the coder. But the requirements came from ChatGPT. I didn't actually have a consultant and a coder develop their own requirements. So in this last one I'm going to show you, I used the structure from the spec kit. I took the documents that I had exported from Access, and I had the consultant and the coder work together. Instead of viewing what GPT had already done, I had it create its own. So the result is this. And in this area, we have month 1, which is project setup and authentication. I was having trouble locally with Postgres, so it kept defaulting. I wanted to use SQLite. So I fixed the local issue and went back to Postgres and we're good. So now we're done with month 2 with user management. Month 2, week 7 and 8 with client, agency, and catalog management. Those are technically done and in the middle of testing. So that is the update. Let's just float through these. Yeah, projects isn't done. So users, clients, agencies, services. That's all we're at right now on the dashboard. Technical issues. All core infrastructure issues resolved, system ready for production features, so we can still develop for month 3. There's an overview. I'll just leave it on the screen of what issues have been resolved. There are no outstanding. So thanks for watching.